Welcome to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm Linnell Ellis, your host, and I am really glad that you tuned in to the show today. Are you ready for Christmas? I know, we haven't had Thanksgiving yet, but I hope you will be ready to hear a little bit about something that's coming for Christmas, because my guest today is going to be Kurt Schafer, and he will be talking with us about the Christmas German Singalong. So this is about singing Christmas hymns and carols in German. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And he'll have a few other things to share with us too about the importance of learning other languages. So we'll do that. We'll have our devotional thought first, and then at the end we'll have some station news. And you'll want to stay tuned for that too, to find out the latest things that are happening here with the ministry at Blue Mountain Broadcasting. Let's begin now with our devotional thought. I want to ask you a question. Have you lost your first love? The pure, beautiful love that you once felt for God and His kingdom? I hope not. And yet there are so many biblical warnings about losing our first love. And I'm wondering if we have all these warnings because it is something we really need to be concerned about. So perhaps we can think about that for a moment today. So when I mention the phrase, losing your first love, my mind, and maybe yours, goes immediately to the book of Revelation, God's message to the church at Ephesus, which includes these words: "Yet I hold this against you. You have forsaken the love you had at first. Consider how far you have fallen. Repent and do the things you did at first." Revelation 2:4 and 5. When we first realize how amazing God is and the incredible sacrifice He has made for us so that we can be restored to Him and to live with Him forever, we are overwhelmed. And when we first understand that we're sinners and that we have no hope of a future without the tremendous gift of salvation, our hearts swell with joy. But perhaps after we've heard the story and even experienced the story over and over, we start to get too familiar with it, perhaps. Maybe we can lose the awesomeness of what Christ has done for us, and it fades from our minds. And this is really too bad. After all, it's still the same amazing truth that was in the beginning when we first heard it. And perhaps it is all too easy for us to lose our first love. But you know, God wants to revive the fire within us. He wants that passion for His kingdom to come back, the passion that we once had. In Old Testament times, Jeremiah records God's expression of sadness and distress at the way His people have lost their first love and forgotten what a wonderful God He has been to them. Let's read a bit of God's impassioned speech. "I remember the devotion of your youth, how as a bride you loved me and followed me through the wilderness, through a land not sown. Israel was holy to the Lord, the first fruits of His harvest. What fault did your ancestors find in me that they strayed so far from me? They followed worthless idols and became worthless themselves. They did not ask, 'Where is the Lord who brought us up out of Egypt and led us through the barren wilderness, through a land of deserts and ravines, a land of drought and utter darkness, a land where no one travels and no one lives?' The priests did not ask, 'Where is the Lord?' Those who deal with the law did not know me. The leaders rebelled against me. The prophets prophesied by Baal, following worthless idols." And that's all found in Jeremiah chapter 2. So God is desperate that we not forget Him, that we hold on to the passion we once had for a relationship with Him. He has such beautiful plans for us. Why would we forget? Why would we lose heart? Why would we turn away from him? If we leave God, what do we have? When some followers of Jesus abandoned him at one point during his ministry, he asked the 12 disciples who were gathered around him about their level of devotion. And in John 6, we hear their response. After this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. So Jesus said to the 12, "Do you want to go away as well?" Simon Peter answered him, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." We can't afford to forget. We can't afford to lose heart or turn away. We must keep our first love for God and his kingdom. To whom else could we go? There is nothing else that is true. Jesus has the words of eternal life. To follow God, to belong to his kingdom, is the only thing to do. Why would we choose anything else? We can renew our devotion to him today and ask him to revive that first love in our hearts. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is Kurt Schafer, who is a teacher, and you are actually here specifically today to talk about a very special Christmas event coming up. And I know we haven't quite had Thanksgiving yet, but this is going to be an early event, and that is the German Christmas Singalong. So let's start back up, because we'll come to details about that, but let's back up a little bit and talk about your experience with languages. You enjoy other languages.
I love languages. It wasn't something when I was little, but in high school and college I got interested in first in Spanish and then in German, and then now I'm pretty much interested in any language.
How many languages do you speak?
Well, 3.5, English, Spanish, German, and some French. But other languages, it's a hobby. I ask people, like, tell me a greeting in your language and that kind of thing.
Sure, right. It's fun for you. So you do really enjoy the German language. With a name like Schafer, is there some family background that draws you to the language?
Yes. So my grandparents on the Schafer side were actually born in Russia. They were Germans living in Russia. And on the Gimbel side, my mom's side, it was one generation prior to that. But their ancestors had emigrated from Germany to Russia, and then from Russia to the United States or Canada. And but yeah, we didn't speak any German at home when I was growing up, so that came later here at Walla Walla College, now Walla Walla University.
So that's where you took your first German language course.
Correct.
And you liked it, apparently.
I did, yeah. I actually was, the year that I spent in Spain, at Christmas time we were traveling around Europe, and I'd had a little bit of German here, so then I thought, hey, it might be fun to come back and do another year. Ended up doing a year at Bogenhofen in Austria, learning German.
Excellent. So we're here to talk about this special event that happens annually, right? The German Christmas Singalong.
That is correct.
And did it kind of come out of the German Sabbath school that I know has been a tradition?
Yes. So when my brother Don and my friend Bryce Cole and I, when we were students here, German Sabbath school was a pretty big deal.
Was it every week?
Every Sabbath. It was in the band room. And it was led by Reinhard Sorotsky, the German teacher, Alden Thompson, who you all know, and
somebody else.
I know. Yes, I'm blanking right now. I know Roland Bleich. Yes. Sorry, Roland, if you're watching this.
History professor.
Yes, history professor, and also native German. And so the three of them led out in the music and in the lesson study, etc. And there were quite a few people attended. But then in December, it was the Christmas Singalong.
Yes. a big special deal.
Right.
So that Sabbath school still happens occasionally, or?
So when I returned here to Walla Walla in 1996, my brother Don and I and Bryce, we decided to start up the German Sabbath school again. I don't know how long it had lapsed. We were doing it once a month, first Sabbath of the month. And that was going on all the way up until about 3 years ago when COVID hit, and
hasn't been revived since?
Right, but we are reviving the German Christmas Singalong, so don't miss that.
That's the first step. That is the first
Yes.
step, and maybe the favorite thing of the whole year.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens at the German Christmas Singalong?
So if you get there early, you can be visiting with the other people that are there, and then at 9:30 we begin singing German Christmas songs like O Tannenbaum and Komm wir gehen nach Bethlehem and all these. We save the favorites like Stille Nacht for the end, for those people that come in late. And during that time that we're singing, we also have a little bit of time to, meet people. I have invited an exchange student from Wahai to come and talk about how Christmas is celebrated in Germany. So that'll be about a 5-minute segment there.
Sure.
And when we conclude the singing after an hour, so like from 9:30 to 10:30, then we have some additional time for people to mix and mingle and grab some treats that we have brought and just visit.
German treats, we hope.
Some of them are authentic German, others
good,
are,
because there are some authentic, really good German treats.
Yes, yes. And you don't have to bring any treats if you come. You're welcome to just enjoy what others have brought. But if you have a German treat that you want to bring, you're welcome to.
Yes, you should do it. So some of our favorite Christmas carols do have German roots. You just mentioned
Absolutely.
Stille Nacht, or
Stille Nacht.
I can't say it very well.
Silent
Even
Night.
though I have a German background myself, we didn't learn to speak it in my home. But Silent Night. So a little bit about that song.
So Silent Night was actually written in 1818. So just about 4 years ago, we had the 200th anniversary. A little town not too far north of Salzburg, Austria, and the poem had been written, and then the man gave it to his friend who wrote the music, and they sang it that night, and it became popular pretty quickly in that area, and then within 20 years or so it was spreading to other countries, and then
it's just
the rest is history. Yeah.
It's like the entire world has Silent Night in their language, pretty much.
Right.
Somebody has translated into each language, so that's really fun. Now, do you have to speak German to come to the Christmas Singalong?
No, everybody is welcome, regardless of your level of German. Okay, so if you don't know any German at all, but you're okay with hearing German, and we'll give you some song sheets. So if you're okay with trying to follow along and sing or just listen, you are certainly welcome. And a lot of people do come that don't know any German. Some people come that know a little bit, and then there's quite a few people that come that are fluent in German or in the process of learning it.
So how many people usually come each year?
So to the Christmas Sing-Along, I would say 40 or 45 might be an average. I mean, we've always had at least 30. I think the year we had the most was like 70. So,
it's well attended.
It's well attended, yeah.
And you said quite a few people actually speak German. So do we have a pretty good representation here in our community of people who speak German fairly well?
So if everybody were to show up that has ever come, it would be a pretty decent group. Some people are here and then they go elsewhere, like the exchange students at Wahai, or there's an exchange student at Wava right now.
Yes.
Eric.
I met him.
And and Whitman College also.
Sure.
But permanent, I guess I haven't done the count, but it's going to be more than one hand, maybe on two hands, the people, native Germans here in Walla Walla.
All right, very enjoyable. So language is an interesting thing when it comes to fellowship and relating with other people. How have you found that to really be helpful?
Well, I see language as a bridge. I mean, it's a connection to another culture, to people. I don't see it as as a barrier. But of course, if you don't know the other person's language, the first thing you can do is ask, hey, teach me a word. Maybe it's German. Guten Morgen, good morning. Or hallo, wie geht's? Hello, how are you? So, for me personally, meeting people that speak other languages, and sometimes I'll admit I do the racial profiling, but in a good way. I say, okay, I wonder if you speak. So I ask people, hey, my hobby is learning a word in another language. Could you, do you speak another language? And usually people are very positive and they'll teach me something. And so, yeah, it's kind of a window into another culture, another way of thinking, another part of the world.
Sure. So you've already mentioned early in the interview that you spent a year in Spain, you spent a year in Austria as you were young and about your education, right? So how do you think those things change the way you see the world?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I mean, yeah.
That's a big question. Pick something.
Well, I mean, there's little things like, for instance, here when we shop at Walmart, somebody comes out and picks up our shopping cart and takes it back to the store. Well, in Spain, you take it back and you plug it in and you take the coin out. I mean, there's little things like that. There's just little differences. And then there's things that go deeper, people's philosophy of what the government should be doing versus what individuals should be doing. And I mean, there's just tons of, but I think it just gives you a broader perspective of there's a lot of different ways of doing things, a lot of different ways of thinking about things, and just the way people have fun and enjoy themselves. It's very different from one place to another.
Yeah. So it's good to kind of open yourself up to different places. And the language is certainly part of that. I think language, we even think differently a little bit in different languages possibly. What do you think about that idea? Yeah,
I mean, when we think, sometimes we're trying to put our thinking into words, and the words that we have in one language versus another language certainly play a role in the way that thinking takes place, or at least the expressing of the thinking.
Sure. So it can really be fascinating. So there's some benefits to learning other languages and enjoying other languages.
Oh,
for sure.
Absolutely. There's many. I've even heard that knowing a second language is going to stave off Alzheimer's a little bit. So
there you go. And we would all like to do that.
Yes, for sure.
We would. So you have this info sheet here with all the details. So share with our audience all the details about the sing-along.
Okay.
Where to go, when.
Okay, so it's going to be on Sabbath, Saturday, December 3. And 9:30 is the time that we will start singing. So we'll have the doors open at 9 o'clock if you want to come at 9 or 9:15 or 9:20. It's at Walla Walla University, Fine Arts Center, Melvin K. West Fine Arts Center. And it will be in the choir practice room, which is room 115. So that's on the first level.
That's a good place for singing. A choir practice.
Yes.
Got to sound pretty good in
acoustics. Yes, good acoustics. And if you have trouble navigating stairs, you will not have to go upstairs. Sometimes we've done it upstairs in a cozier room. But so that is the location. And again, we'll be singing from 9:30 till 10:30. If you come early, you can do some visiting. And please stay afterwards and do some more visiting. We will have some cookies and mandarin oranges and something to drink, and maybe some German chocolate. Rittersport, yeah. So good, just a chance to mix and mingle.
So if people have additional questions, can they give you a call?
They can. Yes.
All right, you want to give your number?
Yeah. Meine Telefonnummer ist 527-3116. And in English, that is 527-3116. Oh, area code 509. 527-3116 if you have questions.
Yeah, that was good that you said a little bit of that in German, because that's what I failed to ask you to do during this interview was say, oh, well, you can just say Merry Christmas to everyone then in German.
Fröhliche Weihnachten.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Kurt. I appreciate you coming and sharing with us about the German Christmas sing-along.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. It's time now for Station News. Well, I have exciting news for you. Work continues at the Wallula facility. Yes, we are working on the HVAC system there, some ductwork that needs to go in. And when I say we, I mean the wonderful people who are coming and doing this work for us from College Place Heating and Air Conditioning. So huge thank you to them for what they're giving to Blue Mountain Television. And this work is primarily going in at the networking room and the broadcast room. These rooms have to have their own cooling system so that we can make sure that equipment never overheats. And this is all very important for progress forward in what we're doing with the remainder of the building as well. So it's just, this is happening sooner than we thought it was going to. So it's just really great, exciting news for us. And then also I wanted to talk with you about the Valley Giving Guide. You've heard us say some things about the Valley Giving Guide, especially if you were watching during our fall fundraiser. But I wanted to remind you that that date is coming up. November 29 is the very first day on Giving Tuesday that the Valley Giving Guide opens up, and that you have the opportunity to go there to the Valley Giving Guide and select Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association as the organization that you would like to give toward. And then when you give your gift there, the Blue Mountain Community Foundation is able to take the funds that they have available and match gifts that come in through the Valley Giving Guide. And they estimate that they'll be matching it at 20% level this year, which is really good. That means that if you gave $1,000 to Blue Mountain Television, your gift would be increased by another $200 more. So that 20% increase, what a fantastic way to give to this ministry as we come to the end of the year. So please remember the Valley Giving Guide. You just go to the website. It's not difficult to do. You find the organization you want to give to, in this case, Blue Mountain Television, and you click on that and you're able to put in the amount that you'd like to give. You'll need to do it with a credit card, and it goes right on through, and the money then comes to us. The Valley Giving Guide is open between November 29 and December 31. So from Giving Tuesday through the end of the year. And we're looking forward to the great things that God is going to do through you for this ministry through the Valley Giving Guide. And speaking of the end of the year, we have an end of the year letter coming out to you, coming out from our office this week. So if you're on our mailing list, be sure to watch your mailbox for that letter that we're going to be sending to you very soon. And is it too soon to talk about Christmas? We just were with the Christmas Singalong. So let's talk about some of the special Christmas programs that are coming to the station. But before I do that, I want to say, I don't want to just skip over Thanksgiving entirely. What a fantastic holiday Thanksgiving is. The time when we focus on being grateful to God for what He provides in our lives. It's a huge holiday and really important. However, we know that we are looking forward to this wonderful music that always comes at the Christmas season. And yes, we're going to be bringing you those programs on Blue Mountain Television. I don't have the specific air dates yet for each of them, but we do know that we will be bringing you the Walla Walla University Christmas program, always a favorite here in our community. And the Village Church Christmas program, that's going to be special and wonderful as well. And then from the State Line Church this year, this is a new one for us. We'll be bringing you music from the Castle Valley Academy. So this is just going to be a fantastic concert as well. And then there will be some favorites from the past that we'll be able to bring back for you to see as well. So always special programming during this time of year on Blue Mountain Television. Speaking of programming, Secret Life of the Desert. We're still airing new episodes of that. So be sure to tune in on Sunday night at 7 and during some of the repeat times for the program so that you can see the latest episode of Secret Life of the Desert, a program that we are so proud of here at Blue Mountain Television and just delighted that we can bring to the community. So those are some things to mark your calendar about and to be remembering and be aware of as we come toward the end of the year here. A very important time for ministries like this one. Extra gifts are usually given at this time of year, and we certainly need them this year. So thank you for what you're doing for the ministry financially. Thank you for telling people about programming that's on the station and getting them connected with it. And thank you for praying for this ministry. I'm glad you tuned in today for the show. I'll see you next time.